join with us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thanks for being here tonight. We always appreciate your being here. Appreciate your attendance. So thank you. If we don't have enough chairs, we can get more chairs. It's always exciting to have to haul in more chairs, so we will gladly do that. We start off most of our meetings with, after the call the meeting to order and the Pledge of Allegiance, we usually start the next portion by inviting people, if they have anything that they would like to say to the city, to please take 3 minutes and address the city and tell us what you have on your mind. Is there anyone tonight that would like to address the city and tell us what good things, positive things that they would like to share with us with regards to the city? I'll give you an example. Somebody told me, and I don't have the details yet, and I'm going to get them, but someone told me that our Class B Cold Spring Springers have been invited to go and play a baseball game on Target Field this summer. Now, I don't know about anybody else here, but I've never seen somebody that I know personally play baseball on Target Field. So my understanding is there'll be tickets that we can go. I don't have details. Hopefully we can get somebody from the Springers at one of our next meetings, and they can give us more details, but I think that's an exciting thing. So, Cold Spring is going to be able to play baseball on the field at Target Field. That's pretty cool. Okay? Now, somebody top that. Nothing? All right, good. Let's go on to the consent agenda then. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Oh, I'm sorry, not the consent agenda, to approve the agenda. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion.
Dave, thank you. And a second?
A second.
Jamie, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. We have an agenda. And again, I apologize for putting the consent part in there. All right. Ms. Chris, if you would please, the number 4.
The minutes from February 9, 2016. Recommendation to approve the minutes of the February 9, 2016 City Council meeting as presented.
Questions? Hearing none. Anybody want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion.
Jan, thank you. And a second?
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now for the fun part that we've all come to this meeting to enjoy. Item number 5 on our agenda. We have in front of us a number of variances. How would you like to handle this? Can we ask the Wenner people to sit up here and talk to us? Is that okay?
Yep.
Reggie, Pat, you guys want to sit up here so we can ask you questions and you can address the questions? The advantage to having you up there is twofold. First of all, the camera can pick you up, and second of all, there is a microphone there so we can hear what you have to say. Do you have another chair? You want to grab one here? Perfect.
We have some handouts that Steve will pass out here.
Okay, if you do me a favor, please, and introduce yourself so again everyone knows who the
Okay.
players are.
My name is Reggie Fraley with Alpha Development, and I'm contracted and I work for the Wenner family on the project we're trying to do redevelopment here in Cold Spring.
Excellent.
I'm Pat Wenner, Wenner Company.
And welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back.
And I'm Steve Posh with GLT Architects.
Okay. And Jim, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you.
Jim Wenner with the Wenner Company.
Thanks, Jim.
And one more introduction. Mary. Mary Kern is influential in this whole process also, so I'd like to make sure you recognize Mary Kern here.
Welcome. Okay.
In our process, if you remember, we were in front of planning and zoning and city council and things last August, putting together a project that we're trying to bring here to Cold Spring. As we did this and started moving forward, we thought we had a site plan approval until we came in to look at that, and then we decided, okay, we didn't do it correctly, we need to come back through a process. And in that process, we noticed that we run into a section in the ordinances that calls for, on the setbacks, it's for the parking setback. And the piece that we did not catch was, in the ordinance, the parking setback also has a bituminous or a impervious setback rule. So in our plan, we had some drive lanes. We thought we had everything correct because we had the parking setback dealt with. We didn't have the bituminous issue caught, and that's what's bringing us back here today for a variance. So we went through planning and zoning last week on our variances, and we had submitted 8 variances. We received a recommendation on 7 of the 8. And the 8th one, we came back in and conferred to find out what some of the issues were, and we have redesigned for that final variance, and we've submitted a new one that went to publication that will be heard, I believe, on the 8th, is it?
March 8th. Mhm.
March 8th. So, and what that one was, and we'll just briefly touch on it, is that one was concerning a setback on the parking and bituminous on the residential versus commercial zoning districts. So the new one, what we did is we understood, we heard loud and clear from planning and zoning, and we followed their recommendation. We retooled. We're not going to mess with the setback on the residential. We've come back with one that we think is much more palatable and smaller against commercial to commercial zoning. So that one will be heard by planning and zoning at a later date, as well as the council. So the ones we're in here this evening that we're looking at, what it is the map that you have in front of you, it's got the green on it. What this shows is our original site plan. Where the green was, that area, which is 10 feet, is a setback for non-parking, but then it was also for the non-bituminous. We're asking for the variance not to park there, but we're asking for the variance such that we can put a bituminous blacktop there. So on the Highway 2 side and on the Highway 23 side, that is a 10-foot setback. In between Mary Kern's property, which is this block here, and the Wenner property here, that lot line would have a 5-foot setback on both properties. And then on the trail side, the north property line, that is a 5-foot setback issue that we're dealing with. So this is all Lot 4, and on our plat, Lot 4 comes in here, and then it's got this big long finger that runs all the way down behind Mary's property and comes back. And that's all part of Lot 4. So all of these variances here are dealing with Lot 4. And what our request was to take these variances to 0 so that we could take bituminous up to the right-of-way, where then from the right-of-way to the street will be part of the streetscape plan. So right now it's all concrete, it's all bituminous from the road all the way in. There's nothing there green at all. In our plan, even with our 0 variance, there is going to be on Highway 2, there is going to be streetscape put in, there's going to be green space. And on Highway 23, there's going to be green space. And then back behind Mary's here, we got some green space. So one of the things that we agreed to do, which would be a change to the city development agreement, would be we've agreed to supply irrigation to those areas. Even though they're in the right-of-way and they're basically part of the streetscape, we've agreed in our construction plans to design that so that we'll provide irrigation so that we can hopefully keep them looking green.
So on the County Road 2 side, on the Highway 23 side, and the part on the north side of Mary's, all
Yes.
3 locations will have irrigation.
Yes.
So as to keep the green.
That's right.
The attempt.
Okay. Then one of our requests was on the backside here. By getting that 0 lot variance, we want to take from the curb cut here on Mary's property From there to Highway 2, Red River Avenue, that would be a two-directional street, or it's private property, but it would be a two-directional drive lane. From our lot line on the west side of Mary's property to that curb cut will be one directional. And the reason for that is on the far west here, that's only 18 feet wide. You need 24 foot for two directional. So what we're asking for is for that to be approved as a one directional up to here where we have enough width, and then from here through to go two directional. Part of that reasoning is when we designed our plat and we met with the MnDOT and we met with the county for road accesses, we moved this access, which is way up here close to the intersection. We moved it back here, and the theory for that was with MnDOT, they had wanted us to move that far enough back to where we were behind their left turn lane on Highway 23 heading east. Because what you have today, when people will use that exit and they want to turn left coming out, a lot of times they'll come out, they'll head west, and they'll do a big loop to go around that turn lane direction to get in line to go east. By coming back this far, we won't have that issue. When they come out, they'll go straight out and turn left. Then on Highway 2, we currently have 3 entrances. And we agreed to move the one that's right square in front of SA, which is close to the intersection, to move it back further. When we did that, the county came back and asked us, actually would prefer you move a little bit closer to the intersection, because they wanted us more properly lined up with Lee Molitor's entrance on the other side of the street. And the concept they were after is when you got your entrances.
Different color, please. From here, we can't see it.
Yep, no problem.
From where you are, it looks good, though. Different color, please.
Try purple. So when you have your road like this, if the entrances are directly across from each other, this path would turn in front of a car and this one would turn in front of a car. That's the legal proper turning direction. If we had these offset and they were further back, what you run into is this one's coming down trying to turn in here, this one's coming down trying to turn in here, and they create a knot, and it backs traffic up both directions. So we said that's fine, and so we moved our entrance closer to that intersection. So that was recommended by county, and we did that. Now for good traffic flow, the reason we need the importance of the 24-foot behind the new hardware store is vehicles will come out of the gas station, they will circle and come into the car wash, which is on the west side of the store, facing north and south. Then they can go straight out here onto the highway. Most people today, if you look at the traffic pattern on the site today, the highest traffic pattern for exiting the Super America station is not this entrance. They take a diagonal cut and they go out of the one up by Fastenal because they can get further away from the intersection and get back onto Highway 2 quicker. So this traffic pattern around here will probably be very highly used by the customers of the store and the hardware store, and it takes them to the furthest exits from the intersection. So that's the reason we want to maintain a two-directional road back here, and part of the reason for the variance in the road request. So that keeps this traffic pattern flowing, and it keeps it safe, it keeps it in line with the county's request, and in line with the highways department's request when they approved our plats and everything. So that's kind of the concept of what we're trying to do. And in here, on the one between Mary Kern's property and the Wenner property, that one, what we need to maintain is the ability to continue the pervious blacktop through here, because we're going to be doing blacktop, if you remember, all the way up to Mary's building. So that whole center through there is going to be improved. And when we come around with a vehicle, if there's a curb in here with the turning, that's going to get in the way. It's going to be a problem for snow plowing. It's going to be a problem for all the directional. So that's why we want to be able to just make this bituminous all the way through. Now, when we turned in our civil designs, and we specifically looking at the stormwater treatment, under the front parking lot here, and a small one over here, and here, we're building an underground infiltration system. So we're putting pipes in, perforated pipes, so when the stormwater comes, all of the roof will go underground into there immediately. All of this area here is going to flow into that. And we're going to end up holding that water, and we're going to be able to hold, I can't remember exactly, I think it's up to the 3-inch storm level before any of that water is going to move into the MnDOT basin or into the city basin. So we're doing that because, we know we're going to have a lot of impervious property here. We're asking you to approve a variance as such. And so we've done our best to provide a functional solution to that. I wouldn't say financial, because these things aren't cheap to build under there, but we're okay with that because it will make the whole system work. And we won't be adding tax burden to the existing systems, which according to MnDOT, their system is pretty well tapped on the highway. So they loved it. They said that's a great solution. And there's a strong probability we won't see much water from you no matter what, because of our treatment basins we're putting in here. So that even catches, by doing the pervious all the way through here, that even catches Mary. So we'll have, we have a basin here that's catching, over in here. So that's part of what we were doing. In order to get this accomplished, though, we did have to come back and request variances. So I kind of blended most of the variances all into one. There are 7 separate ones before you tonight. We did not, and we're not even going to talk to you about the one that planning and zoning denied, and we're fine with that. We're going to follow their guidance, and we'll come up with an alternative solution at a later date. So maybe we'd open it up for questions from anybody, and then Chris, you can, or Bob, you can tell us how you want us to proceed.
Can I just ask a question? If we're not going to address the one with the 20-foot residential one,
No.
should we not address the 15-foot road aisle on the north side? Is that going to be changed as well?
Yes, the new request is for a drive aisle of 14 feet on the south side and a variance of 5 foot against commercial.
So we
So we don't have to address any of those two.
So we could address that, not address that one either, because
Yeah.
that's going to be modified. Okay.
Yes, that would be correct.
Okay, so help me out. You two are on the planning commission. You've spent a lot more time with this than some of the rest of us. So which ones did you just discuss? So 8 is off the table?
Well, can I make a clarification on that?
Yes.
For the lots, that's the Fastenal building and the relocated building.
Mm-hmm.
So you had the setback variance behind those, that's actually 2 variances because it's 2 lots.
2 lots,
And
yes.
then the roadway is also 2 variances because it's 2 lots. So technically, that's 4 variances that you're not asking for anymore.
And then 4
Right.
that still are.
Because the new one that was just submitted, which will come up for public
Yeah,
hearing and
right.
process, has that road on the south side.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so
Instead.
don't go into a lot of detail on that at this
Right.
point, because you're going to add confusion.
Correct.
So
But-
for tonight, what is it you're asking for tonight? And so we can go get some clarity on that.
I can just give a quick summary.
Yep,
So the
please.
variances that we're going to address tonight are everything to do with south of the track,
Yeah.
Correct, lot.
which
Lot 4,
on your
block 2.
memo from Chris is number 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, so 3, 4, 5, and 6 is what we're going to be talking about tonight.
1 and
Agreed?
2 and 7 and
Brian?
8 affect
Brian?
the 2 lots north.
Brian, agreed? 3, 4, 5, 6? Chris, agreed? 3, 4, 5, 6?
I think so. I didn't look at that yet, but, yes. So variances 1 and 2 were for those 2 buildings for the parking aisle width. And those we are not considering, and then variances 7 and 8 was for their
Residential setback.
setback.
Okay.
So, you're right, Jan. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So now so everybody knows what we're dealing with. We're only talking about the variances according to Chris's memo 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. Council, what questions have you for, either for the Wenner Group? Otherwise, again, the city attorney is here as well. So if you have questions with regards to that, we can address those kinds of questions and concerns. So, Jen, Dave?
I've been in the meeting, so I've got my questions answered, but
I have all mine answered to you. As far as the setbacks, I guess I don't have any problem south of the tracks with any of that. Just because like where the parking is, it's not parking up to our right of way. It's parked away from it. That's why I didn't have a problem with that.
So if I can paraphrase, so that what you're talking about again is on the green map, it's on County Road 2.
On County Road 2, yeah.
They want to pave a portion that is
Yes.
supposed to be unpaved.
Yes.
In the memo that we received, it says that you want to pave it, but you're not going to park on it.
No,
If you're
it's a
not going
drive
to.
lane.
Oh, you're going to drive lane?
It's a drive
Okay,
lane,
because what I was going to ask is, if you're not going to park on it, then why do you want to pave it? Why don't we leave it semi-pervious or pervious rather than paving it? But it's going to be a drive lane. Okay, all right, thank you.
Say, Bob,
Yes,
on the second handout that you received from Steve,
Yep.
that looks like this one. What
Okay.
you can see is, an important part of the reasoning is we have a lot of independent contractors that live out in our area. They come through pickup trucks, pulling trailers, enclosed trailers, different things of that nature. We got a lot of people pulling boats and stuff. We have a diagonal parking in our plan, and the reason for that is so that they can pull in and they can get a truck and a trailer parked in here, and they can go into the convenience store. I mean, sit out there at 4:30 in the morning when shift changes start, that parking lot gets crazy. And right now, if it was not for the parking lot that we have with Fastenal, where they're all parking, I don't know where all these people would go, because that's what they use. So our design was to come in here and have this as a drive lane to go down to where they could pull in. And that's where we ran in, because that setback, we weren't planning on parking, so that we wouldn't have bumpers coming up and the front end hanging over into the right-of-way. We just was gonna use that as a drive lane, but then when we found out how the ordinance read, and we had Sue verify that that is exactly how it read, then we decided we have to ask for the variance here, but it's a drive lane, so there's not gonna be cars parked up there. It's so that they can come in and pull into this diagonal. And that's a really important part, because this part of the hardware store too is gonna have early morning hours for our contractors. They may need certain supplies and things as they're leaving for their job. So this is gonna open early, so between the Super America and the Wenner Hardware Commercial Division, this is gonna be a very important parking and traffic flow diagram to service the clients that'll be using this store.
okay,
So maybe this diagram helps clarify that.
makes it easier for me to see, yes, okay?
Other than that, that's all I got. I just wanted to make a comment on that. I think
Thank you. Brian, you got something?
Nope, looks good for me.
Nope, looks good.
Okay. Sue, is there anything that we need to know that? Brian, is there anything we need to know? Okay, all right, then what do we do? Take them one at a time? Okay, is there anything we need to know?
No.
Okay, let's talk, again, what we're doing is number 3, according to Chris's note, number 3. And which variance is that really? Is that number 4, number 5, number 6, number?
Letter C.
Letter C. Letter C, Wenner Company variance for parking area aisle width resolution 2016-06. And tonight, my understanding is we were all given copies of those resolutions themselves.
So this letter C, the first one, is for the parking, width of the parking aisle north of the Wenner building, where at the property line it turns to 18 feet going west. It's for that width. It needs to be 24. They have 24 behind the Wenner building, but behind Mary's building it's 18. And that's all one long lot.
Okay.
So that's letter C, resolution number 6.
Okay, so council, does everybody see Resolution 2016-06? That's the one we're addressing. Questions with regards to 2016-06?
Can I ask one question?
Please.
The only reason somebody would drive back there is to go into the back part of your lot, which is going to be a secured gate, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so other than that, it's a closed road, there's nobody would have any business back there anyways, right?
Correct.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, anything else? Again, council, please, if you have a question, this would be a great time to be asking it so that we can get our questions answered before we take the next step of voting for it or against it. Nothing? All right. Then I think what we need to do is if we can, normally I'd have Chris read this thing, but I really don't think she wants to read all of these verbatim. So knowing what it is, I think we've talked about it. Is somebody here willing to make a motion to either approve it or disapprove it?
I'll make a motion to approve letter C.
Let us see which is,
Resolution 2016-06.
thank you. We have a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. Jan, thank you. We have a motion to approve 06. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, excellent. Thank you, council. 06 is approved. We're going to go on to 07, correct?
Yep.
All right. 07, tell us what that is, please.
That's the variance for the lot coverage. This has to do with the underground drainage storage, water storage pond or whatever.
Basically, because of granting them to have the paving out further,
Okay,
they don't meet the requirements for
That's
the
that one.
pervious
Okay.
surfaces.
okay.
Yes.
And that's the one that says that you're going to have the ponds to retain the water, but as part of all this, you're also going to provide irrigation to the 3 different spots of green space. I just want to make sure that we're all on the page, and that's still what you're going to do.
Yes.
All right. So number 7, and by the way, is that written any place? Okay,
Just a correction there, we're going to put that requirement regarding the irrigation in the developer agreement. It's not part of the variance.
so it's not in the variances at all? Okay, it's something we've agreed to, but it's not in any of the variances?
Correct.
Perfect. You also had something?
Yeah, it was along those lines that they're doing the ponding as well as they're doing the underground storage is the reason that's making up for the overage on the impervious.
Okay. Thank you for that. I have a question. While Reggie was talking, I wrote myself a note. He said, and correct me if I misspeak, any rain event of 3 inches or less, we got you covered. Anything beyond that would then be flowing into the DNR or the city's system. Is 3 inches a reasonable system? Is that what we need it to be?
I don't know if 3 inches is the number, to be honest. I know I've
3
reviewed
inches
it,
in
I
an
don't
hour.
recall if that's
Is
the
it 3
number.
inches in an hour?
But there is a certain
Something like that.
number that the watershed district and the city and folks are looking for.
Okay?
And they've gotten approvals from the watershed district, they've gotten their approvals from MnDOT. MnDOT is gonna be the controlling one there because that big underground one on the south side of your building that flows into the DOT storm sewer, and so the DOT is very concerned that you don't overload that. But they're on board already.
Yes.
The Sauk River Watershed District, who has jurisdiction over a lot of the stormwater things in the city, is on board. We've looked at it, we're happy. We suggested a couple little things to look at on it, but not things I'm concerned about with the variance.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we're on 2016-07. Council, what questions have you on 07?
I don't have any.
I don't have any.
None? All right, then we need a motion to approve or disapprove.
I'll make a motion to approve 2016-07.
Dave, thank you. A motion to approve. Can we get a second?
I'll second.
Jen, thank you. We have a motion to approve 07. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, thank you very much, council. We have now approved 07. 08.
Okay, this is letter E, this is for 2016-08. This is the paving setback all the way around their building to go 0-foot setback on the east, the south, the west up to Mary's property, and on the north to the trail.
Okay, here I have a question, and it's foundational more than anything else, and so I'm going to pick on you, and I hope you're okay with this. In a theoretical world, we have a setback for a reason. What's the reason?
The reason is, for example, along County Road 2, it would give us a little bit of a buffer between the parking and our right-of-way. We're gonna be doing our streetscaping tight up to the right-of-way because we need all the space that we can get. Theoretically, then you'd have a little bit of a buffer in there. It's also more of a visual thing, so that we don't have necessarily a sea of pavement. It's visual as well in the fact that if you don't put things in there, then there's nothing blocking your view. You know, a good reason for building setbacks, keeping them away from the road. Those sort of things. This is the one where we're gonna put in the developer agreement, the irrigation. It gives us some additional options on the streetscaping because that area is now very tight. If there were naturally a buffer in there, we'd probably work with the property owner to maybe put some of the streetscaping in that buffer, because it gives us more room to work. Because it's very tight now, we are going to try and do more things that create a little bit of that separation so we don't have this big sea of pavement. So the irrigation was a key piece of that.
Okay, so you're comfortable that by shrinking this setback that we had for a reason, by shrinking the setback, we have come up with another way of addressing the same concerns, but in a different format. So this is still a good thing. Okay, questions? Okay, so we're on 08. And are there any questions about 08? All right, then I need a motion, please, to either approve or disapprove 08.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Jan, thank you. We have a motion to approve 08. Can I get it seconded?
I'll second it.
Okay, Dave, thank you. We have a motion to approve 2016-08. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent, thank you again. We've approved 08. 9 is the last one we're doing? Okay. All right, so this one is 2016-09.
And this is for the same setback for paving, but this is for Mary Kern's property. She would, so it would be on the west side of that green stripe you see going up and down.
Okay,
And it's to pave up to the property
Green line
line.
through the middle.
yep. And Mary,
Basically,
you're okay with this?
rid of that.
You're supporting it? You're
We just
in?
did their
Okay.
half, now we're doing Mary's.
Council?
That.
Questions? We're okay? We're okay? Chris? We're
Yes.
okay? Any more questions, comments? All right, then I need a motion to approve or disapprove of 09.
I'll make a motion to approve 2016-09.
Dave, thank you. We have a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Jamie, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve 09. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. Thank you, council. We have approved 09. Chris? That's it?
Right, you're withdrawing the other 4 requests?
At this time, you're withdrawing all the 4?
Yes, we're going to withdraw them and reapply based on advice from the planning and zoning.
Okay.
Brian? Sue? Anything? Reggie? Pat? Dosh? And we're all done? Gentlemen, congratulations. We've taken another huge leap. Thank you. Let's keep the process moving. And again, I appreciate you coming here so that everybody can hear what we're talking about, so everybody knows the steps we're taking. Again, thank you. Let's keep it going.
Thank you very much.
To the two of you, thank you. And of course, thank you. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back to the agenda. Now we're going to be on item number 6. Brian, you're on. Excuse me. Brian, agenda item number 6.
All right. You want to start with the fun stuff or the less fun stuff?
Okay,
Yes.
good answer.
You want to look at some streetscaping
Yes, we do.
stuff? Do we need to keep that open?
We need that door open.
We have this door open.
The reason they close it is because they're talking out there, so if you can make them be quiet, we can have them, we can open the door. Otherwise, we just have to make sure that, Scotty, we have to make sure that we're not perceived as closing the meeting, which we are not doing.
All right, so what you're looking at here is a little bit of the streetscaping. So you're looking at the new Wenner development, the SA. So down by the scale, you can see there's a little bit of a north arrow pointing you to the right. Highway 23 would be on the left side of the page. So if everybody's kind of oriented to that. So this is the area I was just talking about where if we'd have had that extra 10 feet, we could have done some different things. But out of the needs of the project, we've shrunk our area up. And I think it's actually going to look really nice. So what we're looking at through here, if you start on the left, you have sidewalk in here. They're going to have parking lot and curb in the area that's not colored. Then you have sidewalk. You see some dark bands through there. Those are the banding like we have in Granite Landing. You can see that they have column A and column B labeled. Those would be like the tall columns out by the Granite Community Bank. So that's kind of what we have going on in this area. Behind here, there's also you can see shaded a little darker at some of the banding, there's like almost a little bollard there. If I hand this around as well, what we're thinking in there is to kind of combine a bollard and a fence. So a way to provide a visual cue that this street, this sidewalk, this streetscaping is different from the business. So what I have passed around is a real rough sketch of the fence. Kind of an angled bollard like we have before, and then some sort of steel, some sort of element in between with fencing, and then you can see the green in the drawing, a little bit of planting in there as well. So the fencing is a little additional to what we had talked about before, something different than what we've talked about, but working with our landscape architect thought that would be a really nice element in there and really tie things together. If you go north of their driveway apron, similar thing there again. We'd have some fence. It would span, so the first full band in there, it would skip one and then go to the one that's under the tree. So you'd have some fence, you'd have a break, you'd put a tree in there, and then you'd do some more fencing and plants, etc. Some bushes, shrubs in there. Again, some kind of similar concept with what we have shown here. Likely it'd be the large granite on each end and the smaller post in the middle. So I know it's different than what we had talked about, so that's why I thought, this is a good time to see if this is something that we'd be interested in. I know what I can anticipate your next question is, what does it cost? And I don't have an answer for that. This portion of the streetscaping was kind of delayed on getting the concept going because we were waiting on the variances from Wenner's to figure out what we would do here.
Jeff Martin's big concern was this is the gateway, and so it has to be a statement piece. It has to be, again, you can use all the fancy terms you want to use. Is that what this is?
That's what this is. This will have the most streetscaping of this stretch will of our entire stretch of roadway. That's why we have the columns there. There is an option if we're cost concerned, we can maybe go from 2 columns to 1. You still have the big large column there drawing people in. Right now we had thought about saying welcome to Cold Spring. We could just put Cold Spring on one. There's a lot of different different things we could do there, you know, even he's showing this tan-colored flagstone paving in those areas. What that's doing is it's drawing people from the pedestrian pathway is actually closer to the curb. As you get to that driveway cut, it's pulling you to the top of the apron, and then it's kind of pushing you back. You know, that might be something that flagstone, you know, I'd say if there's a budget concern or when we get the bids, that's the first thing to go, is that element of it. I think the vertical fence is going to look a lot.
And he had talked about that in his design, that to bring your eye up, you got more bang for your buck than doing it on ground level, so.
Okay. Fran?
Is this going to be repeated on the other side?
It would be repeated on the Holiday side as well.
Okay.
We aren't exactly sure how far it's going to go up to the trail. You know, we might stop a little short. We're going to do what looks right through here. But yeah, this essentially the same thing would be repeated
The
on
fence
Holiday.
thing too, on the Holiday
Yeah,
side?
it'd be the fencing, and actually we're looking at how do we beef this fence up a little, because unlike on this side where it's just a drive lane, on the Holiday side they're actually parking up against this stuff, so we want to make sure that it's strong.
Durable?
Durable. I will also be, I need to talk with Lee Molitor and propose the idea of parking bumpers in his parking lot to help protect some of this, but those are also things that we can't force him to do because it's private property. So I would highly encourage him of it, but it's not something we can necessarily force him to do. So we want to make sure that what we put in there is going to be sturdy. And it would also be a good cue for the cars to see this bollard, this fence, to maybe I should stop short of it.
Do you want to mention the piece about up by the brewery on the bridge?
Yes, good point. Thank you, Jen. We had talked a little at the Planning Commission. On the box culvert, right now, there's just some pipe railing. And it kind of blends in right now because the brush is overgrown and you don't really see it. The county is going to go in and take a lot of those trees out to necessitate storm sewer work, as well as to just clean it up and protect the box culvert. They're starting to grow into the culvert, which is a bad deal. So you're going to really see that railing. So one of the suggestions was we should put a nicer looking railing up there. One of the suggestions from the Planning Commission was, why don't, and John had kind of thought of it as well too, is why don't we put a granite post and then fencing in between? Basically tie that granite from this end to that end. So kind of a very similar concept to what we're showing here. It'd probably be a little different, but the theme would be
idea,
similar.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice, again, to make it consistent, if you'll excuse the expression, pretty, but also consistent and functional. That's cool. I love the idea that the county is willing to take out some of those trees, because one of the things that we've heard from comments from people is, why do we even have the creek running through there if it's so overgrown you can't even see it's there? So that's going to be nice. Clearing that up and putting this decorative piece in there, again, I think is going to be a real nice feature as well. So I think that's really good.
And it's one more way to tie the parts together.
Yeah, the different sections. Brent?
Brian, tell me again why we're not replacing that culvert with a culvert?
Because the culvert is in good enough shape that the county says it's not worth replacing.
All right.
Some of those, it's actually a cast in place, so they formed it up and poured the concrete rather than a precast culvert where they bring it in on a truck and set it in place.
Like a squash culvert.
Yep, exactly. And so a lot of those old poured in place culverts they last a long time. If you maintain them, they're very sturdy. So there's no need to replace it because it's not deteriorated to the point that it has to be.
Will the new road separate from like it did now? There's always this crack where that concrete meets the, are we going to cure that somehow? Or
The
is
idea
it
that-
always going to come back in later time?
The idea that the county had through there, because there's actually very little cover on top of that culvert, they wanted to put a big concrete pad essentially over it and extending a little. And the roundabout, they looked at it and looked at the truck traffic and said, well, we're worried about rutting the pavement when the trucks turn. They kind of roll the pavement and you get ruts through there. So they said, we want to do the roundabout in concrete. And they said, well, it looks dumb to have concrete here and bituminous in the middle, so they're actually going to do concrete between. So that whole area from the brewery, in front of the brewery.
All the way From the roundabout?
From the box
down to
culvert to the roundabout.
Oh,
So it should cure the issue at the box culvert of the bump that's
Yeah,
there.
because now it's still, when you drive over, it's got that little ledge and I'm going by, sometimes the squash culverts gets rid of that, but you're gonna pour a concrete pad over it, so I guess, yeah. Just wanted you to tell me again. Thank you.
And because the county is responsible from backup curb to backup curb, the surface portion of it, the fact that they've chosen to use concrete rather than bituminous does not change the city's portion of the cost.
Correct.
Excellent answer, even better. Fran gets what he needs for the rest of the city, and the rest of us get what we need. It doesn't have to cost anything. So, great. Give us some more good news.
That's kind of where we're at right now. We're really finalizing up the lighting design. I'm working hard on the streetscaping. So we'll be looking at pursuing the railing on the culvert. We'd actually also down the slope. So we're just gonna really make the top decorative. Down the slopes, we're gonna do like a black vinyl chain link or something else. Because there are steep slopes, but we really don't wanna highlight it so that people go down there. We want to have them on top.
Right.
Functional, but not
Right.
inviting.
Not inviting.
We've laid out through downtown where the trees are gonna go, where the benches are gonna go, those sort of things. So I'm just working through the final details on those. So I'm hoping by the next council meeting here, I should have plans ready for your approval.
Brian, thank you for that. One of the things that I think you know is that Nielsen's ratings polls all our viewers, and we're extremely a highly rated program, so there are probably millions of people watching right now. And most of them are curious if they can see this in better detail. Brian, is there a way that, I know it's preliminary, but is there a way that we can make it so that people can see in better detail what this is?
We can, but I guarantee by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's gonna change.
Okay?
So we're still, it's very preliminary. We're working through the details on it.
Okay? By tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, you guarantee it's going to change?
Yep.
Okay? Do I know why, or do I want to know why tomorrow morning by 9 o'clock it will change?
Mainly because we're working through the details. This is preliminary. The best I could get on our fence
Yep.
was a 3-minute sketch from him.
Okay? So,
Well, that's-
but again, and again, so if everybody knows that it's preliminary, and if you stamped draft and preliminary on here, again, I think people are curious to know what it is we're working on. People want to support this, but they can't support it if they don't know it. So is there a way that we can do it? Can you put a copy of this on the website? Can you,
We can.
and again, put as many disclaimers, Sue said she'd help you. She didn't, but she might. Put as many disclaimers as you need to so that people can see it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we can do that.
Right? Thank you. All right, what else you got for us?
I have a bunch of resolutions. Here's the unfun part.
Okay, before you do that, council, with regards to the pretty pictures, any other questions? Jamie?
Is there anywhere we can go see this, so it has an example of this anywhere you know?
There is no example of this that I know of.
First of its kind, huh?
First of its kind. These are custom designs.
Okay.
Wow.
Charlotte's Web.
Unique.
We haven't even figured out the exact final concept of what it's going to look like, other than we want to get some granite granite that kind of acts like that bollard, but then connect the fence in between it.
Okay. Dave?
I got nothing.
Jen? Fred? Chris? All right, now you can turn the page and go on to the next place.
Under
Thank
the
you.
unfun stuff. All right, so County Road 2 related as well. We have several things that need to be approved by the county, basically stating that we're going to work with the county, we're going to play nice. There's a couple of spots, and then a lot of this came from their state aid review. We need to complete some of this as well. They talked about some no parking areas that the state makes them designate as no parking, and we have to agree. So, we can go through these one by one if we'd like. Chris, you might have to help me on the numbering here. The ones I have just have X's.
Okay, the first one is 2016-14, and that's the one approving a county project within municipal corporate limits.
Okay, so that's basically just saying county is going to do a project within the city. Are we okay with that?
So it doesn't have any detail, it just says they're going to do a project.
Yep, that's basically they're doing a project here and they want to make sure we're aware.
Well, it actually references a specific project
Specific project,
on
yes.
the
Okay.
first line.
Well, that's what that SAP and then a number, that's what that all is about.
State aid project.
Okay, so this is not a surprise, and this is standard procedure. So we're not creating wheels here, right?
Correct.
Okay. Questions, council?
We want them to do the project, so.
Okay, and I think that's a pretty safe question. Any other questions?
So it looks like it's.
Then I think we need a motion to approve or disapprove resolution number 2016-14.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve. Thank you, Jamie. Can we get a second?
Go ahead, Jan. Go ahead.
Jan will second that motion. Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve 2016-14. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you again, council. All right, Brian, what else you got for us?
All right, so we have the next one would be,
I did the agreement second.
oh, thanks. Next is an agreement. This is an agreement between the city and Stearns County. Goes through and talks about who's responsible for what when it comes to the actual construction and design. So it talks about that back of curb to back of curb that we've talked about forever. Outside of there is ours, inside of theirs is the county's. It talks about the storm sewer. We're gonna split that cost, and that will be according to the MnDOT hydraulics engineer. They're still working on that split. Just that we'll follow whatever the MnDOT hydraulics engineer says. Pretty standard procedure. Talking about the areas of County Road 2 that will only be resurfaced and what the county will be responsible for there. Talking about the right-of-way and easements, which we've already covered. In fact, the taking houses down, so we've started to incur some of those costs. Let's see here, construction costs inside, outside of the curb. Pretty much the same things going down there. There is a line in there about delays associated with obtaining the necessary right-of-way. Sue has looked at this. I flagged this one with the county engineer as well, or the assistant county engineer. He said it's more of just a standard agreement that they put in there. If for some reason there's a portion of the city project and we delay the county, then we are responsible for those delays. Really, this is not going to apply to what we need to do. The right-of-way that we were taking up by the roundabout is through the county. It's already done. We're set on that. So this is basically they're just trying to cover themselves a little. Maintaining the streetlights, sidewalk, and landscaping, that's our responsibility afterwards at the city, including the lighting in the roundabout. But we have worked with the county on getting similar design. We're gonna have similar lights in the roundabout, so we're gonna be able to do the decorative lights up there, which is, I think, a real plus, because otherwise their standard is just kind of a basic looking light. So for us to be able to match the lights, and part of our argument was that we're gonna be maintaining it, so we need to have spare parts, so our spare parts should match for both, otherwise we have to keep more spare parts. Talking about how we reimburse each other, the city or the county is the prime entity on this project. So our work is being done under the county's contract. The contractor will be entering into an agreement with the county, and then we're working with the county. They'll be the agency that runs the bidding, etc. So basically just outlining all of that. Is there anything big I missed in there, Chris?
I did have a chance to review the contract, and like you said, that was the only thing I was concerned with, was the delay. And it sounds like we have all the necessary right away, so there shouldn't be any delay costs.
Thank you. Council questions?
Got
And
none?
again, this is pretty much standard fare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. All right, then let's, a motion to approve or disapprove of this agreement, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Jamie, thanks for the motion to approve. A second, please.
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. Motion to approve this agreement. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. We have an agreement. Thank you.
All right, next one, parking restrictions on County Road 50. The gist of this is saying that that portion of County Road 50 that is in the roundabout, so from the roundabout to 4th Street, where we stopped the project last time, you can't park.
Is that a temporary you can't park or a permanent
That's
you
a
can't park?
permanent you can't park.
Okay,
It's all part of the roundabout. We don't want people parking there.
okay. And as part of the project, there'll be proper signage and proper yellow curbings or whatever else?
I did actually, I brought up that question, and this resolution and the next one, it is not actually something that we are required to sign. This is something more to put physical signs up. This is something that the state requires based on design standards. So they want us to acknowledge that these are areas based on design standards we don't want people parking.
Okay, so the question about signage in the
You do
area?
not technically have to sign it.
Okay, so we don't have to sign it, but you're going to convince the county that they want to put that up there, right?
And in some of the, you'll see the next one, in some of these areas, it will be painfully obvious that no one should park there.
Okay,
And in other areas, we can put signs up if we want, or we don't have to put signs up.
okay,
In this one in particular, it will be painfully obvious, don't park here, it's a road. There's through lanes, it won't be striped for parking. It'll be very obvious.
okay. Again, walk me through this. So County Road 50, so we're going up the hill, the roundabout is at the top of the hill, we're going to the left, and so basically from the roundabout to the left to that first street by Veterans Park, the first street going off the side there, from that street all the way back to the roundabout, that is the area we're talking about that there'll be no parking on,
Correct.
okay? Council, any questions about any of that?
So that first house on the other side of the street from Veterans Park,
Is gone.
oh, I'm sorry, on the west side of the street.
Oh,
There's a Rambler on that side.
Yeah,
On
they
the
can park
north
in
side
front of
of
their
Fourth.
house.
oh yeah, anything north of 4th, then we'll
Yeah.
be able to,
Okay,
yeah.
good enough.
I mean, nobody parks
On those roads anyway.
around, yeah.
Yeah.
On that curve.
No.
Council, any other questions? Okay? Okay? All right. Then I need a motion bless you, I need a motion to approve or disapprove 2016-13.
I'll make a motion.
Jamie, thank you. And the motion is to approve.
Approve.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. We have a motion to approve 2016-13. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. All right.
Last one, which would be 2016-12. This one is related to County Road 2. Same as the last one, areas where the state aid engineer has said we don't want people parking based on how the road is configured. So this one is worded, no parking. The proposed street width does not provide adequate width for parking on the west side of the street between 400 feet north of 2nd Street North. So what that means is vacated 3rd Street. So if you
Which
think
is
of
where our flashing light is.
the flashing light on the driveway on the north side of the brew house,
Okay.
that's vacated 3rd Street. There was no real good way to put it, so that's why it's 400 feet north of
Okay.
2nd Street.
But that's where it is,
Yep.
the driveway just to the north of the brew house.
Yeah, and there's dual driveways to the two houses in there, so that area right in there, right where the brewery crosswalk is.
Okay?
So they're talking on the west side of the road. So if you're driving out of town, the left side, from there to 3,255 feet north of 2nd Street North. Anybody want to take a guess where that one is?
Past the Cold Spring Elementary.
It's the north driveway of the elementary.
Okay,
Okay.
It's basically the area with curb,
okay.
after that curb goes away on the west side.
So from Sauk River to the North City limits.
So that's the next one. So the next one would be the east side of the road, 400 feet north of 2nd, so again, vacated 3rd. all the way north to the north city limits of the city, because there's curbing along that whole stretch,
All the way past River Oaks.
past River Oaks.
Okay, so past River Oaks, past the golf course, just keep going. As long as there's,
I
as
think-
long as there's
It's
a
before the
curb.
golf
Up
course
to the,
parking lot.
up to the golf course
And there's a
road.
house, one house before
Yeah.
that.
So what they're talking is the city limits on the east side of the road.
Yeah, which is that last street into River Oaks.
Okay, but again, as long as there's a curb,
That's essentially what this is saying, yes. If there's a
Okay.
curb, we don't want people parking there.
so again, what I'm trying to do is give people a visual. So when you go out there, if there's a curb on, again, going out of town on 2.
On
if
the
there's a-
right-hand side,
if the-
yep.
yeah, if there's a curb on the right-hand side, that's how far it's not, no parking.
Yep, same way
Then on the left-hand side, it's no parking, again, all the way past or up to the elementary school north
Correct.
Parking lot,
Driveway.
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 Thank you.
yeah.
I was thinking, it's not parking lot, it's
Correct.
driveway.
Nope, that
Okay.
nailed it.
Okay.
And really, no one parks in there anyways,
Pretty much not.
No.
so.
All right. All right.
And the reason they picked vacated third is because north of there, we're starting to get into the roundabout where it starts directing you in, it starts shifting your lane a little bit. So they need that space to configure for the roundabout.
Okay. I'm confused yet. Parking restrictions on CSH 2 from Sauk River to north to city limits.
Do me a favor, just read it off of here, because on here what it says is, because we're going to do this project from the Sauk River to the North City limits is
So
is why we're doing,
So there's no parking restrictions then?
not,
I mean, the way I'm reading it, there's parking restrictions on 2 from the Sauk River to the north of the city limits, the way I'm reading this.
Yeah, it's the parking restrictions that are in between those 2 points, but it tells you it starts 400 feet north.
Okay.
So I think the one you're reading, Fran, is basically, it's just getting to the point of, we're doing a project from here,
To here.
from the Sauk River to the North City limits, and because we're using state aid funds, we now need to not park in these areas which are in the last paragraph.
During construction,
No.
this is
At all,
permanent.
at all.
This is
Okay.
permanent.
So the Sauk River in there is only it's basically identifying the project as a whole.
Oh, okay. I guess, because the way I was reading it, the way it was reading is parking restrictions on 2 from Sauk River to the north to city limits.
Yeah, that would be all the way
I'm-
through downtown and
Yeah.
everywhere,
Yeah.
and that, we can't be doing
So,
that,
Nope.
okay.
okay? Again, Brian, this may not sound like a question, but it is. Basically, what it sounds like their engineers are saying is, we cannot park in areas where we can't park right now anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
And where no one parks right now anyways.
Okay? So, but we're making it official that because of the roundabout, because of the modifications to the road, there will be no parking. Again, basically, the driveway just north of the brew pub, going north. That's where it's gonna start. And then coming from the other side is where the curbing is. On the one side, it'll be by the elementary school. On the other side, it'll be by
7th Street north.
Seventh,
the
River,
Yeah.
River Oaks Golf Course.
Yep,
In there.
7th Street.
Okay, but just that specific area, there will be no parking, period.
Yeah, and I will clarify, there are people that currently park north of, between the intersection and vacated Third Street. There are people that park in there. But because of the roundabout and the configuration of the roadway, we are not going to allow people to park in there going forward.
Okay, yeah, so right now, you can park, because there's a couple of houses in there, so right now you can park there.
There's one house north of vacated Third, or two actually, one behind the other.
Yep.
And there's people for the brewery park there. That parking will not be allowed because of how we have to shift the traffic.
Council, we okay with that?
Yep.
Okay? We okay? Sue, we're okay? Brian? All right, so we're looking for a resolution or a motion to accept or decline 2016-12.
I'll go 4 for 4. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve 2016-12. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. We've passed it, and Jamie is 4 for 4. All right, Brian, what else you got for us, buddy?
I think that wraps up County Road 2 unless there's any other County Road 2 related questions. Like I said,
I do have one more question, and it's kind of a rough question. Someone recently has asked me, with regards to the shrinking of the roadway, County Road 2, Red River Avenue, we're shrinking it slightly, and I believe it's 2 feet from each side. Their concern is it's going to be way too narrow, and I'm wondering if you can give us an approximation of something similar that would be about the same size as that.
sure. So the stretch that's north of First Street North, so coming into the residential portion of the project, I guess give or take a couple feet would be County Road 50 by the school. It's kind of a close approximation.
Okay.
I think if you let me do my math here quick. It's going to be really close to that.
Okay. So if a person were concerned about what the finished product was on County Road 2 is going to be width-wise, going and looking what we did last year on 50, it's going to basically be the same as what we just did on County Road 50.
Exactly, and that would be the section where you have 2 through lanes,
Yep.
opposing traffic and parking on either side. You get into the downtown, it's going to be a very similar thing, but put a turn lane in the middle of it.
Okay.
So it gets about 12 feet wider because
Okay.
you have that turn lane.
But again, if the concern was, are we going to be able to get out of our cars without losing our door? They're doing it on 50 right now. They're parking by the high school. People are getting in and out of cars now. They can be resting assured that it's going to be safe. It's going to be okay.
It's going to be safe, and especially that the county is the one who set a lot of these standards, and they're following the state rules. I think one of the things we've talked about before is the through lane. When we talk about a 12-foot width, that's as wide as a lane on the interstate.
Okay.
So something to give you some reference to, or going down 23, those are 12-foot wide lanes. So it will still be a wide lane through there to drive through,
Okay.
and a 10-foot parking lane beside that.
So there'll be plenty of room.
Plenty of
People will still have to use prudence. They'll still have to be normally cautious, but they don't have to worry. It's going to be plenty wide for everybody.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. I think, Council, anything else regarding the reconstruction Red River project? Okay, what else you got for us, Brian?
Well, update, we're still working with the landowner to finalize the agreement on some additional purchase to bring that well site up just a little bit bigger, to make it, I think we talked in the past, to try and give ourselves a little more room with the wells so they have less influence on each other, plus the chance for maybe another future one in there. We're working with them, they're working with their irrigator on the layout and some of the things associated with that, power, etc. So
But as far as you can tell, everything is heading in a positive direction.
everything is heading in a positive direction.
Thank you. That's what we needed you to say. What else you got for us?
That's it.
That's it? Brian, thank you. Moving on to item number 7 of the agenda. Chris, if you would, please.
Extension of FMLA leave, recommendation to approve an additional 3 weeks of FMLA leave for Ron Fuchs.
Okay. Please do us a quick favor and explain to us, there's only a certain amount of time that we can do this. We're all within, with the constraints and everything, so we can grant 3 more weeks, and we're still fine, and everybody's good.
Yes, we can go up to 12 weeks, and the first request was for 6, so this would put him up
So
to
we're
9.
still fine,
Yep.
okay? Again, be careful with your questions, but any questions?
Nope.
Okay, then can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Dave, thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Jan, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Thank you. Item number 8. This is where Chris gets to do all the talking.
Okay. I really just have one thing. If this is to talk about joining a solar garden. If you remember about a year ago, this was when Paul Hessian was still here. He brought in, I can't even remember the guy's name. He came in and gave a presentation. And then we got a second presentation, but that was just at an EDA meeting, so a couple of you saw that one. And then we obviously all got the presentation from Excel, which was kind of nice, not from a company. And then I had a third one come in here, I don't know, maybe about 3-4 weeks ago with another request. One of them is the one that's putting it in north of Cold Spring, and one of the companies is the one that's putting it in south of Cold Spring. The third one is the one that we heard a year ago, and that one I'm not sure. I haven't ever really talked to that guy. So I just thought we should probably talk about it and decide, do we even want to do this? And if we do, then look at the 3 proposals. They are a little bit different, at least 2 for sure are. So without me going into a lot of detail, I thought I would just maybe start by saying, do you guys even want me to pursue this further? And if so, what direction should we go?
One of the things that I was going to ask the council tonight is, it's been a while since we've had a workshop. And again, a workshop is just where it's less formal, and we can just discuss things like this. And I was just wondering if it would be okay if we scheduled a workshop sometime in the near future, so we can address different issues, talk about the planning commission and where you might be with regards to the remodel and all kinds of different topics that we might need to discuss. Would you be okay with scheduling a workshop? And if so, can we have Chris come prepared to that workshop to again have some discussion on what's going on, so we can give her some guidance on what we the council think about solar gardens.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Help us get in a workshop and let's talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything more?
Just probably one thing I was going to share with you was last week, John, Stevie, and I went and talked to a group at the Granite Community Bank called their Granite Club, and there was probably between 40 and 50 people there. And Dan Stile asked us to come and talk about County Road 2 and the streetscaping and the roundabout and detours and just a lot of information about that. And then that led into other things. We talked a little bit about the new wells. We talked about the City Hall remodeling. We talked about elections. It was kind of fun. It was a group of their members that bank there that they call their Granite Club. So it was really fun. And hopefully that gave them, just a little bit more information to take back out to the people they talk to. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Is it okay with you if I say thank you? Mm-hmm. Excellent. Chris, thank you, and thank John.
I will.
Again, it's nice that you go out there and represent the city like that, so thank you, appreciate it very much.
Yep.
What else you got for us?
Nothing.
That's it? Mm-hmm. Are you sure?
Yes.
One more time. You
Yes.
sure? Okay. Item number 9, should we pay our bills?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, we have a motion from Fran to pay our bills. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Jan, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Last thing on our agenda at this point is number 10. Jamie, we're going to start on your end of this counter this time. What we're looking for is comments and questions, concerns from the council. Jamie?
I have none.
Dave?
Nothing.
Jan?
Upcoming community showcase.
Ooh, tell us a little bit, please.
March 19th, Saturday, March 19th. Up at the high school, free event. 9 to 1. And I'm assuming the city will be having a booth?
I would hope.
Yes, we actually have 3 of them.
Okay.
The fire department, the police
Fire.
department, and then kind of city/EDA one.
Okay?
And yes, we're looking for volunteers, as long as we're on that subject, so. I'll probably be sending you out an email, but just a FYI.
Okay.
You'll get somebody.
You'll get somebody.
All right.
Fran? You got any comments?
I'm good.
Okay? I have to go back to what Jan just said a moment ago. Somebody recently approached me and told me that, I'm probably going to mess up the statistic, but they said it was something like, in the last 8 years, 60% of the homes in Cold Spring were either built or sold, which means that a lot of our population has turned over in the last 8 years. That's why that idea of the Showcase 2016, again, I think it's a wonderful idea, wonderful opportunity for people to get out and go talk to the people that are there about what's going on in Cold Spring. I think it's going to be big. I didn't realize that, if you think about it, in 8 years, roughly 60% of the homes have turned over. That's huge. Percentage-wise. And again, I didn't verify the statistic, and I don't know how they calculated it, but that was the statistic they gave me. I found it fascinating. So, again, we need to do more to encourage people to get outside their neighborhoods and find out. All right. Franz reminded me that we should be on item 11 of the agenda. Franz,
halfway out the door.
Franz just made a motion to adjourn. Can we get a second?
I'll second it.
Dave, thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you.